Hey, how you doing? This is God, my voice. Hey, this is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. It is now Sunday Comics, and we're going to continue with the X-Men. I might do other stuff, I'm going to do the X-Men by default, but once in a while, I'll do something else if it catches my eye. Oh, jeez, I literally woke up like 2 hours ago, but this is the first time I spoke. I didn't realize my voice was so harsh. I was on Yellow Flash last night till like 2 o'clock in the morning, so forgive me for being sleepy. And yesterday I woke up at 5 to go to work. I worked overtime, something I don't normally do on Saturdays, but I'm new to this particular company and they needed help and you do it. And the money is good. I mean, take a sip of coffee. That is some good stuff. Good stuff. Let me turn up the light a little bit because I know I will have difficulty seeing the writing. There we go. I don't care if my face is glowing. So, what's going on with Longbox Comics? So, as normal, I filibuster a bit before we actually get into it, just to let people come in. So I will share my screen. Why can't I figure out? Oh, there we go. So this is my Fund My Comic page. Last night on I think I got like almost maybe $400 from Yellow Flash. About 6 or 7 backers. One guy, it was funny because one guy backed out. I think he refunded, and then I think he went back in like at a higher pledge level. That's so that's always good. That's always good. So oh, where are we? So we're up to 175 backers. So that's uh I had 300 backers originally for my first campaign. So I'm at 175 backers here. I'll stop and I will share Kickstarter, and I'm at 20, or you can't see. I am at 24 backers here. So we're at 200 backers. So I would like to get 100 more backers. I would like to get 102 backers to make officially uh, higher than the last campaign. That's my goal. That's my goal. So can we get 101 more backers for my campaign? Now keep in mind that 300 backers was months, months, the campaign, and then I fulfilled, and then other people said, "Hey, this guy actually fulfills his comics," and then they still backed. So, you know, I have a while to reach 301. That's my personal goal because then I would like to build with each campaign, obviously. So we got Jimmy in the chat. Jimmy, as you know, is one of my players. We he is. I think Jimmy and Mike were the two original guys who played Villains Vigilantes with me, the role playing game that I'm kind of obsessed with. And you know, back then he would be the game master, I would be the game master. We made characters together, but right now as we play, Jimmy's main character is Dr. Richard Dante. He's a spellcasting magician. He's a Doctor Strange type character, and he's an odd character. Literally, I think for 6 or 7 real years, he role played him as a magician character without the ability to cast any magic. He was on a quest to learn magic. Jimmy loves that stuff. He loves the role playing aspect of the role playing games. So he just loved this long quest to learn magic. But that's kind of boring for the other players. So Richard Dante is like when we play just Jimmy and I. He has like traditional superhero characters that he plays with, when everybody else shows up. But Jimmy's character, he went forward in time, backwards in time. He explored a lot of my universe. Well, he hasn't been in my comics yet. Uh, I planned on just dropping his name in Patriarch #1 for his character, which I'm not going to reveal yet. And then he was going to be full on introduced in Patriarch #3 when Patriarch's part of a super team. It's like, but it was mentioned in issue 1, the Meta League. So in issue 3, he's actually going to like go to a Meta League meeting, and then of course you can't go to a superhero team meeting without there being a superhero team crisis. So that's going to introduce the super team that he's part of. But Patriarch doesn't like to be on the super team away from his city, because the Metal League kind of meets in New York. So he doesn't like to be away, So he spends most of his time around his home, which is just outside of Science City, Arizona. So you could see that's why there was just a passing mention in the first issue. There's a second mention in Heroic Tales 2, and you see a cameo of all the members of the Metal League, and then yes, King Fu is on the Metal League. So I was going to introduce. So Patriarch 3 will be a team book. Okay, that's that. I was going to introduce Jimmy's character in the Metal League in issue 3. Drop the name in issue 1 of Patriarch. I know, a roundabout story. I'm sorry, but fortuitous events have happened, and I was invited to do a 12-page short story with my characters meeting another character. Yes, I'm being vague on purpose until it's finalized and okay. And it's going to be published in that comic, which will be in comic book stores. So I'm like, oh my God, this I didn't plan on that. So that story is going to be told out of chronological order. That story will probably be chronologically around Patriarch number 4, like Heroic Tales number 6. So you're going to see a little bit of the future, but I don't reveal a lot of the grand scheme of things. But I do, you're going to see Mary Sue and the Patriarch and King Fu and Public Eye, like they're all going to be on the team. But as a bonus, it's just so cool. It's going to have all the play characters. My friend Mike's character is Colonel Strong. My friend's Paul character is Magnum, and Jimmy's character is Richard Dante. That's his secret identity name. I'm not going to reveal his superhero name until it's time to reveal it. So they're all going to, and then my Patriarch. So it's going to be all my characters plus all the role-playing characters for the first time ever on a team comic in a comic book store. So Jimmy, Paul, and Mike, we are just beyond the moon. We're just so happy. So I got the script approved, and Renzo is working on it right now. So it's going to be Renzo, Oscar Crano coloring it, Bill Williams doing the so it's going to be my team, making my characters, my friends' characters in, crossing over with an established character in a comic book store. It's so freaking cool. So that when Renzo's done with those 12 pages, he will then start working on the Patriarch number 1. So Patriarch number 1 got pushed back, a month or two? Big deal. All right, so we got a bunch of people watching. So let's, the next thing, my wife and I tonight are going to go see the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in the movie theater. I think it's a limited release only this weekend. I think it's the 30th, 40th, I forget, anniversary. So I've never seen it before, and I just started reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I read issue 1 and I read issue number 2, and I really, really liked them. So I'm excited to see the movie. And I talked to Tonic Bowl. We're going to do an episode of John and Tonic. That's where we talk about movies. Next Friday, we're going to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So there we go. And he's the one that got me to read the comics and everything. So he's excited. So let's go through the comments. So here we go. I got my Kickstarter campaign. If you want to back my book, the Kickstarter campaign had to make $500 or it wasn't going to fund. And as of right now, it's at $599. So it's going to fund. So at this point, I don't care if you use Kickstarter or Fund My Comic. Either one of them's fine. Actually, Fund My Comic's better because they takes a 1%, or Kickstarter takes 5%. So there you go. Plus, I like Luke better. So here's the Heroic Tales 2 on Fund My Comic, and here's Jimmy. He's the one of the players. He's got a few characters, and I'd like to introduce a few more of Jimmy's characters eventually over time, but that's up to you guys if you keep purchasing my comic. We got Abrax over here. Good morning. How you doing? How's Lacey? How's everything? I am having a blessed day. Every day that we wake up and get to read comics and get to do stuff and see your family and see the sky is a blessed day. Yep, no spells for years. Yep. This is a killer cover. Hey, Shadowpunk. I could just hear the metal clanging and pounding. This is a great cover. I absolutely. Yes, and sadly Dave got overshadowed by John. I mean, I'm a full-on John Byrne fanatic, but because I started collecting X-Men with 112. So I mean, I was full on John Byrne, Terry Austin, but I went and I got these Dave Cockrum back issues later, and man, are they good. I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. I would imagine some countries would mandate all superheroes work for the government if they want to stop crime, while others would allow more. Yep. You think if you're born with superpowers in North Korea, you get to decide what you want to do? Well, that's kind of the plot of Marvel Civil War. Yep. Oh, nice. Have fun. Oh, I think you're talking about the Ninja Turtle movies. All right, so we got people here. We can take a sip of coffee. Hopefully that eases my morning craggly, scratchy voice. Now, there's a question that's on everybody's mind, that if Colossus should fall, who shall stop the Juggernaut? Oh, one more thing. Renzo already completed the variant cover for Patriarch #1, and Renzo's doing 2 covers. He's doing the regular cover and the variant cover. You'll see why when I reveal it. I got a variant cover for second printing for Heroic Tales done. I'm not going to reveal that until it's time to reveal it. And Rini offered to do a Mary Sue cover. So we're talking about the details of that, and that'll be the Rini. So right now, I'm announcing it right now, the variant cover for Heroic Tales #3, the variant cover, because the mainstream cover will be Renzo, but the variant cover will be by Rini of Fiendish fame. And we're gonna, the script isn't even written yet; it's just plotted out, and she needs like a year headway. So I'm gonna sketch out what I want her to draw. So it's gonna be Rini drawing Mary Sue and King Fu. Because that's the team up in that story. It's Mary Sue and King Fu. So that's all the exciting news at Longbox Comic as of right now. Is there anything I could spoil while I'm talking? There's a lot that I could spoil. Okay, I will spoil something. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. I'm going to spoil something for you. Okay? It's not really a spoiler. Does the Juggernaut have something that prevents him from being levitated by others? Good. Yeah, he's super heavy, and nobody in the X-Men has, because Jean Grey's not there, so nobody on this team has the ability to levitate him. But the Blob cannot be levitated. He can't be moved from once he plants himself. But as far as I know, there is nothing that could stop the Juggernaut from being picked up and moved. Oh, looking forward to seeing those variant covers. Me too. I'm going to share this. Why not? Because I'm a child, and I'm excited. And making comic books, reading comic books in general are supposed to be fun and exciting. So this is, I'll make this big. This is, black and white. It's not colored yet. This is going to be the back cover for Patriarch #1. So that's the Patriarch's family. They're sitting at home and they're all reading comics. But notice all the comics are blank. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in covers for all of my friends' comics. So they're gonna be my friends' comic books. I just realized that some of them are facing the wrong way. So how are they gonna have the covers? But yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to work with, or just put them on anyway and just be like, yeah, that's the only way it could work. But so that's the patriarch and his wife and his 7 children in their house, just enjoying the day reading comics. So that's going to be the back cover. And notice that Courtney, that's patriarch's oldest daughter, she's got a Fund My Comic logo on her shirt. So there you go. So even if it goes to Kickstarter, it's gonna have a Fund My Comic logo on it shirt. So, and I told Luke, if you want, you could take this and you could change whatever comics and put, Fund My comics all over and use it for promotion. That way we both promote each other. I think that's fun. So there we go. Oh, nice. From Top Comics. Top Comics, for those of you who do not know, is one of the comic companies, one of the big 2 comic companies in the Heroic Tales universe. Top Comics makes Bikini Girl and Doomed Earth and Phenomenal Man and all the other characters I've referenced. So let's get to it from this point forward. I will talk about the comic and then address the chat. Yeah, who said that? Who said this is a good cover? Oh yeah, Shadowpunk. And Shadowpunk has his own comic, Shadowpunk, and it's awesome. Check out Shadowpunk. If you want to send me on Twitter the link to your comic, and then I'll put it in the chat. Looks like Marcus is not here to do that. All right, so we got Nightcrawler over here swinging. We got Storm freaking out, and we got Colossus just battling the Juggernaut. Just so cool. That is an awesome cover. So, what year is this? 1970. I can't see if that's a 5 or a 6. Looks like a 6. 1976. So the bicentennial. That was so big. So we got Chris Claremont, author, Dave Cockrum, artist, Sam Granger, inker, John Costanza, letterer, Bonnie Wilford, colorist, and Archie Goodwin, editor. Just look at that splash page. We got a bunch of X-Men. You remember last issue, they all transformed, and we saw that it was the Juggernaut and Black Tom Cassidy attacking. And this issue, we just go right into the action. We got Juggernaut just being right, just smashing Colossus. Storm is freaking out, and Nightcrawler is helping, but let's be honest, what's Nightcrawler going to do against Juggernaut? And then we already got Wolverine taking a nasty spill over here. So Banshee. So I like this. The way the legs are moving, everything. You just see that Juggernaut is just being an unstoppable force, just moving through the X-Men. Wolverine actually is like, what the, And then Banshee. We came to me ancestral castle to enjoy a well-earned vacation. We let our guard down, and now we're paying you a price. Coming my way, cousin? Yeah, but a chance, the Juggernaut's stronger than a lot of you combined. As for me, well, isn't it a pity that I'm immune to the Banshee's vaunted sonic scream? It's nice and convenient. That's convenient. Like, maybe if you notice, Cyclops is immune to Havoc's blast. Havoc is immune to Cyclops' blast. Black Tom Cassidy is Banshee's biological cousin. Are they establishing that if you're closely blood related, you're immune to each other's mutant powers? And if you're non-mutant in your body, are you immune? I don't like. Otherwise, this is just too convenient. So I wonder if this, early X-Men, if they were trying to establish if you're closely blood relatives, that you are immune to each other's mutant abilities. And now I'm speculating are you immune to mutant abilities even if you're not a mutant yourself? I don't know. But as far as I know, it kind of got dropped. He's right on both counts. Blast Jim. For every other time Juggernaut fought the X-Men, it was Jean Grey and Professor X's mental abilities that beat him in the end. But Jean's in the hospital and Professor's back in New York, which means we'll have to do it on our own. Maybe you're immune to me power, Black Tom Cassidy, but let's see how you fare against the old-fashioned punch in the jaw. Nice cover. It looked like Dave Cockrum inked it as well. Yeah, I think he did. And man, you see there's signature. Or you can't see, but there's his signature right there. It's Dave Cockrum when he inks himself is just so good, so good. And this is Sam Grenier. The art is better. I think Sam is dealing with Dave Cockrum's art was so good, and then Sam Grenier took it, and I think the art took a hit. This issue, it's getting a little better. It's getting. I wonder if they're like getting used to each other, or what have you, or I don't know, but it's getting better. Still not as good as it would be if it was just pure Dave Cockrum. We got Nightcrawler up here. Colossus is, remember, Colossus is a goody-goody. Colossus is the he's Superman. He's got the red and blue. He's a farm boy from not Kansas, but Siberia. He's got that same wholesome, raised on a farm, small town outlook that Clark Kent Superman has. And I like that. That's one of the reasons why I always like Colossus. He was the good, honorable, local boy does good kind of thing. Excuse me. So he's in the midst of this fight. He's concerned about Storm. It's his teammate. And let's face it, this chivalrous attitude that honorable men have towards women. Nobody likes to see women get hurt. Unless you're an ugly woman and then you want to see beautiful women get hurt. So Colossus is concerned about her. And Wolverine's just like, what do you think you're doing? We're in a fight. Forget Storm, you big dummy. We're the ones getting stomped. Do not use that tone of voice with me, Wolverine. Fine by me, bub. I got no time for words anyhow. Way to go, Rusky. So this whole honorable, I'm a warrior, samurai, blah, 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 that's a later development. Early Wolverine was a selfish, pompous jerk. And I love early Wolverine. Who cares? Storm's freaking out. Like nowadays, Storm would be like, no, we got to take care of our own. We're part of a team. He's a selfish loner who, for selfish reasons, joined the X-Men. So he was kind of a jerk. And I freaking love that. And I love this. They established that he's got levels of super strength. He's not Colossus level, but he could lift up Colossus, who's a being made of solid organic steel. That's another thing. Colossus used to say, I'm organic steel. I didn't know what organic meant when I was a kid in 1976. I was less than 10 years old. I was 8 years old. I thought organic meant hot. So I thought Colossus was hot. I don't know why. I'm an idiot. In 1976, I could barely read. Granted, I read this later because I didn't even know this comic existed in 1976. So he's picking up like a little reverse fastball special. So we'll call this one the slow ball special. And I like this. Colossus leans into it like he's not perfectly balanced to throw the punch, but he's doing the best he can since he was taken by surprise. So that's pretty cool. He's got punch in the jaw powers. Yeah, everybody's got a plan until you punched in the face, right? Stanley did admit he created mutants to easily explain how people got their powers instead of having to create a new explanation each time. Yeah, absolutely. The whole civil rights thing was tacked onto it later. We got, okay. I thought I missed this comment. Why doesn't the Juggernaut ever team up with the human supremacists? He's one of the most powerful non-mutants. And he hates his brother, Xavier. Remember, Colossus is the half brother of Charles Xavier, and Juggernaut's not a mutant. He was poaching ancient artifacts, and he touched the ruby gem of Satorak, and that's how he got his powers. So why didn't he? Good question. And now he's joining the X-Men. Do not call me that. And do not come between me and my friends again, Wolverine, or by all I hold deal out. Well, I'll be Peter Purepart finally gets a med on. Okay, bub. All you got to do is pick the time and place. Here, fools, and now. So this is Wolverine. Easily distract. This is Wolverine. Wolverine is pure feelings. Cyclops is logic and restraint. Wolverine is his foil. He's instant gratification and feelings. In the midst of, he's yelling at Colossus for not focusing on the danger at hand, which is the Juggernaut, and then instantly forgets about the Juggernaut. Is ready to fight Colossus because he's the latest guy to insult him, or you know what I mean. This is not focused. He's not this stylized secret ninja guy. This is just an easily distractible, freak berserker. That's my favorite Wolverine. Christopher Levitch said, I reposted the stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining. Hope it's entertaining. Hope you see value. Like, subscribe, share, super chat, whatever, all the YouTube stuff that I always forget to say. I'm getting terrible. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. I just kind of think of this as hanging out with friends, and I always forget that I gotta do the Wolverine stuff. Early Wolverine was an animal, from what I've seen. Yes, he was pure reaction. That's all he was. He reacted. Wasn't a long-term planner. Wasn't focused. Nostalgic love for you too, Christopher. Thank you. So now these two are distracted, and Colossus, a Juggernaut takes advantage of that. Juggernaut, what a great name. Again, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, but I like words, and I like looking up the etymology of words and what they mean. And that's always been like a little thing that I do. Like, oh, that's a cool word. And then I would look it up. But now it's so great that I have a phone with me. We have a thesaurus and the ability to look up the roots of words with it's just so much fun. And that's where I get 90% of my superhero names. That's a cool word. What's it mean? And it goes, backwards, and then somewhere along that genealogy you'll find a variant or a synonym or something like that. That's a cool superhero name. But Juggernaut, it basically means water terror. It was named after these gigantic warships. So and then it just later on became something big and powerful. So just a great name, Juggernaut. It's just so cool. And it's one of those words that, like, if I don't think it would be in usage anymore if not for this comic book. Like, how often do you get to say Juggernaut? Because no matter how hard you try to hit or how hard you try, Juggernaut cannot be stopped. Whatever you say, Chubby. Let's get over, see how this armor stacks up. It's against the mutant with adamantium claws. So, believe it or not, as far as I remember, this is the first time that Wolverine admits to being a mutant. We just assume that he's a mutant, but we don't even know what his powers are. Like, we didn't. Did we learn his name when he said his name was Logan? He literally is man of mystery at this point. Nice try, Wolverine, but you didn't even slow him down. Of only the five of us, only Storm would even have a chance. But all she does is huddle in a corner and cry. And this is, nowadays, Storm is the goddess. You wouldn't show her in a moment of vulnerability. No way. Listen up, black woman is talking, all that nonsense. But here, Chris Claremont is not afraid to humanize his characters, which makes them more relatable. These days they're all about, I can't relate, I don't see myself, and blah 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 blah. And then, ironically, to make them more relatable and see themselves, they remove everything that makes them relatable. Right now, Storm has a weakness. She's freaking out because she's claustrophobic, and she's panicking. These days, with everybody in their freaking anxiety, this is more relatable. Should make a character that can't speak. Woman, snap out of it. Kurt, please. We're being murdered, Storm. Why won't you help? I wouldn't worry about the woman goblin if I were you. Close, Juggy, but no cigar. But the name's Nightcrawler. It's going to be dead when I'm finished with you. Big talk. Mine hair. But you have to catch me first. The problem is I can't keep out of his reach forever. And from what I've read, there's no way we can outfight the Juggernaut. We have to outthink him. So Wolverine, Nightcrawler, he's doing what he can, distracting Juggernaut. He knows that he does not have the physical capabilities to deal with Juggernaut, so he's using his head, and his main ability, which he very rarely teleports at this point. His main ability is his agility. So there you go. He's using that. So I will address the chat. Nostalgic love. Oh yes. I addressed that. I haven't thought about it, but Charles and Wolverine both have family members on the other side. Yep. Yes. I had to think for a minute. I forgot Wolverine that Sabretooth is his brother. Claremont wanted to get rid of Wolverine. John Byrne stopped him as he was the only Canadian superhero at the Marvel Universe at the time. Good save there, John Byrne. John, good save. Wolverine is the breakout character. Really, a Canadian DEI hire? Turned out to every broken clock is right twice a day. The Cockrum issues were very Nightcrawler heavy, as he was Cockrum's favorite character, and Cockrum made him up. Cockrum brought Nightcrawler to Claremont, so Nightcrawler was Dave Cockrum's pet character. Hey, everyone, how you doing, Ben? How's everything? How you doing? Storm is one of the really few graceful black women in media. I get why the sassy black girl was a trope, but not everyone. Yes. Ironically, we get diversity by making all black characters the same. I noticed this in the early 2000s, back when Newsarama and the Outhouse were popular. There were forums where Newsarama used to be a website that talked about comic book stuff, and they had a forum, and I was Food Eater Lad there. That was my name, and I was the horrible conservative guy. At one point, I had a Wikipedia page talking about how I was horrible. So I could weather all of these Comicsgate attacks on me. It's literally been happening since 2005. But one of the things I did was I made a post about diversity in comics, ironically, and I showed every black character at the time. Sam Wilson, the Falcon, he was bald with a goatee. Luke Cage, Power Man, he was bald with a goatee. Steel was bald with a goatee. I was like, look at all this diversity. Look at all of this diversity. And they were all angry black man, angry black man, angry black man. Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, that afro is a wig. And then they did away with the wig, and now he's a black man with the beard, with the goatee. I forget which one of the is it Thunderball in the Wrecking Crew. He's now a black man with the goatee. I was like, this diversity is awesome, and of course everybody hated it. I was racist or whatever for pointing out the obvious. So there you go. I've been on the wrong side of history for I think 20 years now. Longer really, but 20 years that I could prove. Elvis, the collector's kit, Elvis the King. Oh, I gotta make a kung fu image of that. There you go. A King Fu. So now we got you came in just before I started talking about the comics. So I give Pete Rock. I'm angry and bald, but I don't have a goatee. And you're also the lightest black man I've ever seen because you're a Caucasian. Pete is my buddy. Pete is married to my childhood friend Allison. Allison and I have been friends since 3rd grade. Then when college came, we, like everybody, I went across the country, whatever, and then we all reconnected, and she introduced me to her husband, Pete. And it's funny because I've been friends with Allison since 3rd grade. Jimmy, since 3rd grade. Jimmy's friends with Allison also. And then we go to hang out, like I'm going to see my friend Allison. Next thing you know, I'm talking to Pete, and we're like, Allison, would you be quiet? Me and Pete are talking over here. We're talking about music. We're talking about comic books. And we were playing a game, and the idea of this YouTube channel was launched in Pete's kitchen, Pete and Allison's kitchen. I was like, it was during COVID, and Pete and Allison were like, yeah, we'll play board games. Like every American, they grew up playing Scrabble and maybe a game of Stratego and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, board games are so different and better now. So I'm trying to think. I think we were playing Lords of Vegas, and man, were they into it. It was funny because Allison was just being polite, and she ended up winning the game and getting very competitive. She was like, "Don't touch my pieces." It was funny. But I remember I was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking of. I got just moved, and I'm thinking of doing a YouTube channel where I talk about you know, it was so Pete was one of the first people who came. He talked about Daredevil, the Frank Miller's early Daredevil run, and it was a lot of fun. And then he came on once, and we talked about heavy metal. And now Pete's reading all my scripts. So Pete has read all, or in the process of reading all my unpublished scripts, and give me some feedback. And it's good because Pete's a normal person, a normal, successful person. You know what I mean? So it's good. Pete likes comics too, but when I say a normal person, I mean not one of these obsessive freaks that we're dealing with here on YouTube and everything like that. So there you go. So Pete, you're always welcome to come back. I wish I could find some board game players out here in Arizona. I just started a meetup group here in New York, and I got to check in. It's literally been like 3 months since I even looked at my meetup group. Maybe but yeah, check that out. And believe it or not, go to the local library. Local libraries are setting up board game. And Pete, I guarantee you, there's a game store. I guarantee you, there's a game store near where you live. Go there, check it out. Ask. It's so nice when people reconnect. Yes, it is. It is. It is. Good morning. I do that too. You do what? Forget things? Get attacked online by jerks? You get that too? So anyway, let's get back to the comic. So now this is one of the detestable things that Juggernaut does. I love the Juggernaut. It's a great name. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. You come up with this name, Juggernaut, which literally means giant water terror, which, later on evolved into just giant, powerful thing. And then he is a giant, powerful thing. It's a perfect name. And then this costume, I remember the first time I saw it, I thought it was kind of goofy, but oh man, it just screams unstoppable force. Like he's got this helmet on that, he's wide, like his human anatomy is off. It is just so good. And then he's doing something detestable. He's literally attacking a helpless, crying female. Yes, it's sexist. Yes, it's misogynist, but you don't attack a helpless, crying female. I know everybody's supposed to be equal and whatever. A helpless, crying man, I have nothing but disgust for it. I just want to punch him. But a helpless, crying woman, you don't attack. Is it the flawed innate chivalry in man that women thinks is sexist and misogynist? Absolutely. But what do you want me to do? You want me to lie? Do you want me to lie to you? What's worse, admitting that I have latent chivalry and or lie to you? You don't attack a helpless crying woman. You don't attack anybody that's helpless, but a helpless crying man elicits disgust. A helpless crying woman elicits pity and let's protect and help. And Juggernaut just grabs her by the hair. He's picking her up by the hair and then tosses her. Let her go, Butcher. Lest you discover how much of a demon this Nightcrawler truly is. So what Nightcrawler teleports in, boom, you can see the smoke in the background, and he's saving Storm, who, yes, she's a black woman. She don't need a man. This particular moment, she needed to be rescued. My pleasure, Spock ears. The girl isn't worth the effort anyway. Damn you, Aurora. These are your friends being killed, your friends who cry out for you to aid. And what is your reply? I'm so sorry. Help them. God forgive me, I can't. And what do? We go into a flashback and we learn some backstory on Storm. It's a little awkward. This isn't, in my opinion, this isn't the place for it, but what are you going to do? So we go into the flashback. And literally, I have a panel like this in Patriarch number 1. We see the Patriarch's face and then flashback. It works. So we got, Unlocking memories from an alien time and place. It's Harlem, the summer of 1951. Rookie mistake there, Chris. You don't put dates in mainstream comic books. Like, I'm putting exact dates in my comic book because my characters are going to age in real time, which is kind of bad to do because I could only make like 1 or 2 comics a year. But I do tell stories out of chronological order. So there's that. But so if Storm was born in 1951, that makes her, quick math. I know, Pete, you're the math guy, 51. So we'll round it to 50. So that makes her what, 74 years old? You know? So that's her parents. They're coming home. 120 12th Street. I hope I never see you again. They're leaving. They're getting in the car, and airplanes. The internet. They're in Egypt. There's conflict. There's fighting. What's going on? And I like this, that Storm's mother, they show that she kind of has this white streaks in her hair. Let's get out of here. We got t-shirts. Oh, remind me, I'll show you. I got to show you something. And planes crash. We got people parachuting, and no, Nadari, Oro, get down. I'll keep you safe. And the plane crashes, kills the parents, and she's trapped. Baby Storm is trapped in all the debris. She grows up in Egypt as a street urchin, stealing to live. Because she didn't develop her mutant abilities till a couple of years later. So she meets what's his name over here, Ahmed El Gibar, and he takes her in and teaches her how to be a thief. So at this point, she's just a street urchin thief. And then when she was 12 years old, some inner need began pulling me to the south. So she just went down to Kenya. She walked for a year, 2,000 miles from Cairo to the Serengeti Plain. And though you never thought you'd seen the veldt before, you knew you had a name. So now she's 14 years old. Her mutant powers are manifesting, and she's living in Kenya. This is Chris Claremont covered all the bases. She's a black woman, so she's from Harlem. She went to Egypt to become a thief, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, and now they're patching it up to the continuity that was already established, that she was a teenager. So the oldest Storm is when she joined the X-Men is 19, because they specifically said she was a teenager. So she's, they're tying all the knots, and that's Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont is just hitting all the cliches. She's black, so therefore she's got to be from Harlem. She go to Egypt to become a street thief, and now we brought her to Kenya, where she is worshipped as the goddess. So there you go. How does she walk? A 12-year-old girl walk from Cairo to Kenya? She's a mutant. What do you want me to say? Men and women are different. Some responses are reflexive. Oh my God, men and women aren't exactly the same. I love the will for ignorance. What's the difference between a man and a woman? You can't even tell. Freaking babies can tell. Which is why it's important for men to have someone they can be vulnerable with. Like Kryptonite, a Kryptonite being. Nicely designed multi-image splash page. I like the sky blending into Storm's hair. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right over here. Yes, her hair blends in to become like clouds. Good catch. Thanks for pointing that out. That's really cool. And we go to the next page. Here's where Xavier meets her, that we saw in Giant Size X-Men. There you remain, the girl growing into a woman, all memories of your past life fading with the passage of the years, content in your solitude, until Charles Xavier had come to lead the goddess from her nest. An ocean away, the self-same Professor Xavier stares. So now we cut to Xavier back in New York. Huh? I thought I heard someone call my name. It's Storm. Images flooding my senses through the telepathic rapport I share with my students. I could feel her pain and fear. Her very thought she's facing King Marco. That's the Juggernaut's secret identity. Scott's prepared to speak with you out the corridor. So Jean's in the hospital. There's Misty Knight. In the meantime, this is a perfect opportunity to introduce you to my roommate, Charles Xavier. Meet Misty Knight. So, this was a real fun part of the X-Men for me as a kid. When I started collecting the X-Men with 112 or 114, I forget the exact number. The X-Men, they were in Antarctica. Then from Antarctica, they flew and they went to Japan, had some adventures, and then came back. During that time, we met a couple of background characters like Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, everything, and I knew those characters from other Marvel comics. So it was really cool to see this vast Marvel world interconnecting, and I freaking love that. So here we got Jean Grey interconnecting with the rest of the Marvel universe, even though Marvel did a great thing at this point. Each comic book was allowed its own room and its own fit and its own feel. The X-Men were a corner of Marvel that were its own thing. Very rarely did they interact with the rest of Marvel. Yes, they fought Count Nefaria, who also fought the Avengers, and in that very issue, they mentioned the Avengers. I mean, it's the same world after all, but they had their own secondary characters, and everything. But there was little nods and hints that they were interconnected. I loved that. I love that. Now, the walls between comics are just non-existent, so that it's just Marvel paste slapped on every comic. And yes, okay, let me walk that back a bit. The Marvel paste is slapped on every comic. There's a grand Marvel feel, but there's subtleties in each comic. Now it's just Marvel. Like, it doesn't matter which team you're on, because you're on everybody's team, with the exception of the Fantastic Four, which for the most part stays the same four members for the most part. But the Avengers and the X-Men, especially the Uncanny Avengers era, there was no differentiation. Every comic book was the same. It was just Marvel comic book. They could have just taken the titles off for every comic, just call it Marvel comic book. The X-Men, to the point, like, at this point, like, if you read Iron Man and you read X-Men, they had a completely different feel, completely different tone, and they were unique. And when Iron Man showed up in the X-Men, it felt weird, and I just like that. But at the same time, there was little connective tissue, like meeting Misty Knight. I love that. My pleasure. Scott, if you please, every second is vital. Well, I'm sorry for that, Misty, but I've never seen this professor so rude and brusque. Nice to meet you. Gotta go. That's okay. It's you I'm worried about. Something's been eating you ever since that space flight. What is it, Jean? Can I help? I know. So tell me, Misty. How would you feel if you died and brought yourself back to life? There you go. There you go. For those of you who've been watching my channel a long time, you know that one of my chief tirades is they didn't need the Phoenix Force. Right here, they're establishing that Jean Grey has the power to resurrect herself. That's why she called herself Phoenix. That's it. You want to bring Jean Grey back, but they knew that. They knew that, and I think Chris Claremont knew that. But what they wanted was to absolve her of the guilt of everything that Dark Phoenix did, which was a big mistake. Big mistake. Look at all the superheroes that motivated by guilt. Spider-Man, most popular superhero, just motivated by guilt. Batman is he motivated by guilt, or is he motivated by fear, or is he motivated by shame? But ultimately, it's motivated by like a negative emotion, and it works. They erased that, and never erase a potential for drama and tension in your characters. Never do that, which is why Kamala Khan doesn't resonate with anybody. Anybody who says Kamala Khan is their favorite character is deluding themselves. There is no tension. There's no drama. There's nothing in that character to she, hate to say it, is just like a 60s 50s DC character that's just perfect. What's her story? What's her conflict? Her conflict is, I'm a Muslim and people don't like, you know what I mean? It's not even that. He's just a dull character. And this, she turned evil And at this point, she turned evil because the manipulations of Jason Wingard and the horrible Hellfire Club and the detestable Emma Frost. And then she brought herself back to life as the Phoenix. I mean, well, later on she died, but she died in that space, and she brought herself back to life. It's already been established that she brought. Then later on, they retconned it into this isn't even Jean Grey. This is an energy. No, they ruined and got rid of. Stories need tension, and to remove a source of tension is really robbing yourself of great story potential. And I was talking with Dave Brink. Dave Brink is right here. Everybody, check out Dave Brink. He's live on Follow My Comic now with issue 6 of Perfect 10. I said it right this time, Dave. And I'm backing issue 6 of Perfect 10 and the hardcover of issues 1 to 6 of Perfect 10. Great comic. Great comic. This is a guy who gets superheroes. And I was talking with him yesterday, and I said that you need to remove tension in a character, removes everything that makes him compelling and interesting. And there's nothing compelling and interesting about Kamala Khan. That's the problem with her. And Sana Amanat said that she wanted to create a character without pathos and everything like that. She wanted to make it, instead of based on tension and drama, she wanted to make it based on hope, and which is nice, but it ain't interesting. It's not fun. It's not funny. Anyway, let's get back to this. So the X-Men, they've been ambushed by the Juggernaut. We must leave for Ireland immediately and assist him. No, Professor, not this time. I'm staying here at the hospital until Jean's out of danger. You're what? You're putting the life of one woman ahead of all your fellow X-Men? It's because that woman is the most important in my life. Besides, there's nothing I can do to help. No way I could get to them in time to make a difference. You yourself has said that sooner or later the new team is going to have to learn to fight on its own. Callous as it is, it looks like, how dare you, you ungrateful, unspeakable cur! Xavier, I never liked Xavier. I took you in. I gave you life. What is it, Professor? No, not my mind. Not again. I never liked Xavier. He's just a creep. And to me, Xavier is the epitome of the male feminist. He pretends he cares, pretends he wants to help, but the moment you give him any guff, he insults you, and then tries to use force to get you, like, look at this. He's got his backhand up like he's going to slap him. I don't like Xavier. And boom, that face in the mirror. Oh my God, this is the face of my dream. So he's hallucinating again of this creepy. I just love this drawing. Creepy space alien. Just so good, just so good. Hey, the juice is here. O.J. Simpson, kid. I'm coming at you with Juice Mobiles, the multi-purpose shoes. Oh my God, I just had an idea for a fake ad. Oh my God. Oh my God. Heroic Tales 3 is going to have a fake ad. Oh my God. I got to take a picture of this now. Sorry. But you guys are seeing behind the screens of how inspiration occurs. I'm assuming that all 25 of you watching right now backed Heroic Tales number 1, and hopefully you backed Heroic Tales number 2. There's fake ads in it, inspired by these classic ads. I just and I was just about to make a joke, and I stopped myself, because you'll see the joke in Heroic Tales 3, or maybe Patriarch number 1, based on this ad right here. There you go. So the letters page. I like checking out the names. We got Daryl Lands, Warren Cobb, Ruben Pharma Jr., there's a name, Kyle Turner, and J. Doug Demise. And then these are always just like a little blurb, and then this is just like what's going on in Marvel in general. I love that. I love that. Let's check out the comments. I got excited about this idea that I literally just had before your very eyes. Did you guys see the light bulb flash? Again, check out Genuine Comics. He's on Follow My Comic right now. Follow My Comic, Perfect 10. I had to stop myself and make sure I said it correctly. Dave, I'm trying, Dave. Claremont said he wanted to kill Professor X and have Magneto lead the X-Men. I got no problem with killing Professor X. I don't like Professor X, but if you kill him dead. He never comes back. I do have a problem with Magneto. He's a terrorist. That's like having Osama bin Laden lead your team. You don't reform. You don't reform, and then all of a sudden lead a superhero team. I mean, yes, that would create a lot of tension and everything like that, but it's like you don't. Somebody on Magneto's level, I never, and they always get burnt. He always reforms, and then next thing you know, he was really stealing all your technology and leaving. Magneto's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. He works best as a bad guy, stays a bad guy, and maybe the most gracious you could say is every once in a while he thinks that he's reformed, but a leopard don't change its spots. We got this ad from Marvel Comics over here, and this is perfect. This is perfect. I just want to point this out. Tension over here. Just look at all of these points of tension. So Storm is freaking out. Xavier is contacted by Storm. He's freaking out. The X-Men are in danger. Juggernaut is an unstoppable force. Now, we're hinting of darkness to come within Phoenix. Scott now is upset with Xavier. They're fighting. And now a space, it's just layers and layers of tension. Masterclass of getting you interested and getting you, and is there anybody among us that's like looking at this that is interested in comics that just is like, oh my God, like you don't realize it, but it's a snowball effect of tension. So many different avenues of tension in these 2 pages. Perfect. Why would you make a character absence of drama and tension? You sabotaged it. But enough about Kamala Khan. And all of this tension, you turn the page, suspense. Boom. Excellent. So good. We come back to stand still, you impish jackrabbit. So we got the heroism of Nightcrawler right over here. Nightcrawler is concerned about Storm. Storm is freaking out. Nightcrawler is, he always transforms himself into Errol Flynn. It's a swashbuckling hero. That's why it's a perfect disguise. What is he doing? He's literally jumping around, swashbuckling, protecting a damsel in distress. That there's a reason why he picked it, and that's why Chris Claremont is a master of characterization. The plot. Hey, let's go to Banshee's Castle, have vacation, get attacked by Black Tom. The plot's nothing. The plot is paper thin, but it's the characterization that is. This is a character-driven comic. It works. Again, this is the lamest plot in the world. We're going to go to Banshee's house. Oh, there's villains attacking at Banshee's house. That's the plot. But it's all of the interactions that make it interesting. There are no bad plots. There are no bad characters. But there is bad characterization and bad storytelling. Fortunately, Chris Claremont is a master of characterization and storytelling. So he's giving us the paperist thin of plot. And look at this. It's not an overly complicated story. It's like nothing. I'm dwelling on that. Not on your life, Juggy. It's no good. Nothing's working. The harder we hit Juggernaut, the less he seems to feel it. And I ain't gonna quit until I'm dead. Oh no. Wolverine, no. That could be easily arranged. So Wolverine saying, I ain't gonna quit until I'm dead. And he's just slashing Juggernaut. And Juggernaut just backslaps him. Backhands him. Wolverine. So this is just so cool. Literally, he gets to do, you watch those old Errol Flynn movies, he's sword fighting, he swings by the chandelier. What does Nightcrawler do? Doesn't even think about it, what he's doing. He's swinging by the chandelier and attacking. He's doing what his idol, Errol Flynn, would be doing, and he doesn't even realize it. It's just so cool. Curse you, Goblin, you've hurt me. So is that a mistake? Did it hurt, or is his eyes vulnerable? In another, So now he goes, I'm getting ahead of myself. I actually got excited. And in the background, you see that sock to the jaw. Banshee's just beating the crap out of Black Tom Cassidy. Never really cared for. Oh man, it's out of focus. I got to turn off the camera. I'm gonna stop the extra camera, and then I'm gonna add the extra camera to get the focus back. Sorry about that. I was putting my hands in front of it. Sorry about that. But I never particularly cared for Black Tom Cassidy. I just don't get the character. Maybe they made him deeper later on. I know he started to become like a wood male dryad kind of character, but at this point, he's kind of like I don't know, just like a hokey, non-interesting. He's Irish and he has a shillelagh that shoots beams. It's kind of lame. So you see, fool, while Banshee is as immune to my mutant powers as I am to his, you, Nightcrawler, are not. So we got Black Tom and Banshee fighting over here. To his credit, Black Tom is a little bit worried about his buddy, so he fires his shillelagh blast at Nightcrawler. And Nightcrawler falls, does not move again. So here we got the introduction of a power that Nightcrawler didn't even know he had. This is the first time Nightcrawler becomes invisible in darkness. You know, ta-da! Oh, let's check out the comments. There's only 2 comments. In current Marvel, former villains who could become heroes with no redemption by associate. Yeah. Oh, my printer just started printing. Oh no, it's self-cleaning. Okay, scared the poop out of me. In current Marvel, former villains, yeah, they just say that I got no. You go to jail, you do your time, you do your penance, you come back. Okay, I want to start at the beginning, the bottom. But Magneto never does that. That's why I don't buy that Magneto goes and becomes leader of the X-Men. He literally goes from villain one issue to the next issue. I'm going to be the leader of the X-Men. They captured him and brought him. When I say they, I mean the authorities captured him and bring him to trial. So here is the beginning of what could be a redemption arc, or you know, he's paying his debt to society. He's going on trial. Stand trial for his crimes, get a sentence, do your time, you come out. We accept that in society, that you paid penance for your crimes. The X-Men don't even let him do that and then make him the leader. So there you go. I can't accept Magneto as an X-Men. You know, I can't accept. Did Karen Frost pay her debt to society? Did she face the public accused of her crimes? No. So you can't. I can't. Hawkeye, yes. Hawkeye, we saw his thoughts. He legitimately felt remorse. He was arrested. He went to the authorities, and by social contract, we accept, the government. That's a whole nother thing that I'm not going to get into. But he did what he needed to do. Black Widow realized, she was a puppet of her government. That's an interesting story. Did she give up Soviet secrets and stuff like that when she switched, in S.H.I.E.L.D., when she defected? Things like that. Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, rather, they were children being manipulated by Magneto. There you go. Magneto, I'm a good guy now. Okay. No need to stand trial. We, the X-Men, have decided that you don't need to stand trial, but we want you to be treated like everybody else, except when it's time to be treated like everybody else. This is why the X-Men is so good at time and the art. Yep, absolutely, Michael. Absolutely. No internal change. Yep, Magneto just, I'm a good guy now. Black Tom isn't that interesting, but he later becomes fluorokinetic, which is the power I've never seen him use until Krakoa. I didn't know that. I do know that at one point he was wood, and under his gloves he became like a living shillelagh. So he became like a forest creature. And I remember at one point he got hit, and underneath his skin it was wood, and he looked like, oh my god, this is getting. But it makes sense that so what is he, like Woodrue from DC, the Floronic Man? So let's turn the page. We got more interesting ads. A U.S. coin-filled barrel. So buy a barrel full of coins. Man, to get that shipped to your house would cost more than a barrel full of coins would be worth. And I like this. So the door opens up, and the wee people find him. So you can see he's literally invisible in the darkness. And leprechauns. Look at that, man. The part of the lad's invisible. Let's get him out of here. And the leprechauns steal Nightcrawler, a fairy abduction. And look at this fight. How did he do that kick? And these two are just fighting each other. I always thought this hurt. He just takes a shillelagh to the breadbasket over here. That's gotta hurt. And knock the wind out of him. He can't use his scream. Yes, Black Tom Cassidy is immune to the sonic effect of his scream, but Nightcrawler, Banshee could still blast objects around him and have him hit with the debris or fly. So he is being clever. So the X-Men are just getting their faces pounded. He's gloating, supervillain gloat. Here comes Colossus. He gets distracted for a minute by him gloat, and then this great panel over here of Colossus just punching him because it's a Russian word. No wonder I can't read it. Because to get Russian word Xavier, you must defeat Colossus, and I will not be beaten. Right? You can see this. It's some sort of Russian word. And then we go. I got into Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man with issue number 1. So for me, this was the main Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man, I knew I was never going to get from the beginning. Although at that time, it was like even as a kid, you could stumble across and get some real key issues. But I was a stupid kid. And now we got Spider-Man defeating the Human Fly with Twinkies. I always loved the Fly. I don't know why. I don't know why. I've always liked this character. But this is why we like Spider-Man, because he understands that Twinkies are delicious. Twinkies are delicious. Get up, Juggernaut, and I will knock you down again. You still haven't gotten the message, have you, Colossus? I'm a Juggernaut. Flatten me 100 times, and I'll face you the 101st time as strong as fresh as ever. Boom! So, this is an interesting thing. If I was to stat out the Juggernaut and put him into role-playing terms, one of his, like in Villains and Vigilantes, in Dungeons & Dragons, I'm sure everybody watching this is familiar with the idea of hit points. You've all played role-playing games, whether tabletop role-playing games or video role game, where you have a health bar. Well, hit points are your health bar. But Villains Vigilantes has 2 health bars. One is how much physical damage your body can sustain, and the next one is how tired are you. And you don't die until both health bars are depleted, which I just love. I just love that idea. So whenever you move in Villains Vigilantes, you spend power. It's tiring to walk across the house. There's a reason why we're lazy and like to sit in chairs. To run across the house costs more power because you're exerting more effort. To run across the house while carrying a 50-pound bag of flour is more because now you're exerting yourself. You get the point. So in Villains Vigilantes, the more you do in the least amount of time is strenuous, and you spend more and more power. So that's one of the things I love about the game is I could multiple attack and just flail out, go berserkowitz on this guy and spend so much power. But if this attack doesn't win, I'm now left depleted. So it's one of those precarious things that you want to find out your chances of attack before you unleash. Why am I talking about this? Because if I was to make up the Juggernaut in V&V terms, one of his powers would be that at the end of every round, so you roll for initiative, you go, they go, you go, things like that. Every time you roll for initiative, Juggernaut's power would be replenished. So he's limited by what he could do in that round. He can't just, do 67,000 billion attacks because he's never going to get tired. So he's limited by how many attacks, how fast he can move, things like that, how much he can exert himself. But instead of resting, because you get 1 power point back per minute. There's modifiers on that, but that's the basic gist of it. You get 1 power point back per minute of rest. Rest is all your defenses are turned off. You're not doing anything. You're literally just resting. And you get hit points back. You get 1 healing rate based on how healthy you are per 8 hours of rest. So you could potentially get, 3 healing rates back a day if you rest for 24 hours. But the Juggernaut doesn't have to wait to rest. He instantly gets replenished. That would be one of the powers, making him an unstoppable force. He never gets tired. He never gets tired. So I love this. Juggernaut, boom. He upends the ground. Colossus is flying. So what does he do? Words will not defeat me, monster. While my acrobatic skill is not of the Olympic caliber, it's more than sufficient. So Colossus, he has some acrobatic skills. I'm just repeating what's said. And he does a twist, hits Colossus right in the belly, and just starts punching him. Colossus, the wall, it's collapsing. That seems to be something that happens with Colossus. Isn't this reminiscent of issue 137 when he's fighting Gladiator? They're just fighting so hard that everything collapses around them. Peter, and she's freaking out. And then, just like in issue 137, the smoke settles, and Colossus is defeated, and the strong man that he's fighting is up. Same thing. It's like a rhyme. It echoes. You got guts, kid, and I'll give you that. But only one thing matters when you're fighting the Juggernaut, and that's power. Oh, Peter, I failed. I failed all the X-Men. I must make supreme effort, conquer the fear. You speak of power, Juggernaut? Behold Storm. As Storm teaches the meaning of the word. I'm waiting, lady. If that's your best shot, make it short. So she hits him with lightning. He's hurling my lightning back. So Colossus, Juggernaut gets hit with lightning and swats it back. Is that something that he could do? Is this just one of those one-shot things? Does he do that often? I'm asking. Because I kind of forgot about that. They're beating Black Tom. The only thing that matters is Xavier. And I know how to get him. He's got a constant telepathic rapport with the students. If they're hurt, he feels it. Hurt him bad enough, and Charles Xavier will walk into our death trap. As meek and as defenseless as a lamb to the slaughter. Ha, ha, ha. Look at this panel. It is just villains gloating. The fall of the tower. There we got the World Encyclopedia of Comics. Muscle building. And then we got this. There we go. And Colossus. Great comic. Non-stop action, except for a little interlude that gives a little bit of information about Storm's past. But man, it's so good. So good. And the X-Men are still bi-monthly, right? They're still bi-monthly at this point. Are they copyright? I think they're monthly at this point. I think it might be monthly. But it's still not the Juggernaut that Juggernaut, huh? There's still not that amazing rampaging comic book force that they evolve in, like the best is yet to come kind of thing. So good. So there you go. I'm done. Oh, I want to show this. I'll switch this out for a second. Here is the hoodie. This is my copy, the Memphis Fist Fighting Society, and then the back is, it's got the Tennessee Dragon. Look at that. Just look at that. Look at that. That's so that they're here. They're here. My trading cards, they'll be here this week. They're being shipped tomorrow. I already got the notice. So there you go. Things are happening. I just was messaging Daniel, like, send me the last pages, and we can start lettering. We'll see what he says. He usually doesn't respond on the weekends. So Great issue. Could you please do some Bronze Age Fantastic Four? That's a good idea. Maybe we will do some Bronze Age Fantastic Four. Do you have a suggestion for a particular issue? But I'm gonna do X-Men because I torture myself all week. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So I'm just by default, I'm gonna do the X-Men unless there's something else that I want to do. So that's where I'm gonna do it. So what do I have planned for the week? I always talk about that at this point. What's my schedule? Nothing. I got absolutely nothing. I got comic book team up Wednesday with RJ from the Fourth Age, and Friday I got at 7 p.m. John and Tonic. We're going to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic. But other than that, I got nothing planned, which is good because I got a big stack of back issues that I want to show off before I can put them away. So maybe I'll reach out to see if anybody wants to come on my channel, and we'll talk about that. So. And it's also good. I'm just on a writing streak last week. It's just so much fun. So there you go. As always, at this point, I'll keep going as long as the chat's going. But if chat dies, we'll end the stream. So what do you think, guys? I love this issue. So if you have suggestions for Sunday comics, you could put them in the description. You could put them in the comments, not the chat, not the live chat. Once it's up, put it in the comment section, because that way I'll see it. I get notified and then I respond. I'm still small enough where I like to respond to every comment. If I haven't responded to your comment, I will get to it. I'm not a big channel yet. And that's everything that's going on. Nothing else to say. I spoiled something. I showed some art. I told you my schedule. I don't know what else to talk about. So tonight, 7 p.m., my wife and I are going to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm going to eat some food. I'm hungry. And I'll see you guys Wednesday is my next scheduled talk, 7 p.m., but I don't have anybody yet. So maybe I'll do an open invite stream or something like that. I got to say, for the past month, people have been asking me to come on the chat. I haven't been asking people. I got to start reaching out to pros again. That was fun. I haven't done that in a long time. So I'll see you. All right. This is a good comment to end on. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good, Long Box Comics is we're going strong. I got a lot of stuff. I'm hoping to ship this comic at the end of September. Come on, Daniel. You gotta send me the last couple of pages. And then that'll be 2 comics in 1 year. I want to up that to 3 comics in 1 year. And so the funnel syndrome that was slowing everything down is I was working with one artist. Now I'm working with a bunch of artists. So maybe we could get some more issues out. So anyway, thanks a lot. Good night or good day.